Welcome to the Recruitment Edge HR and Career Conversation series. Today I'm joined by the founding director of RUOK, Graeme Cowan. I was lucky enough to meet Graeme back in 2014 when we hosted a fundraising breakfast for RUOK Day. And since then, and every year, we've been great supporters of this very important day. Welcome, Graeme.
Welcome, Tanya, and I can't believe it's 2014. We last got together. It's amazing how time flies, isn't it?
It sure does. And Graeme, I recently saw the results of your mental health moodometer that revealed that 1 in 2 people are saying their workplace culture doesn't make them want to remain in their current job. And as a recruiter, that's really very disturbing. So why is it so important for employers to focus on mental health of their employees?
Well, it is really critical. And as you would know, Tanya, there's a real talent shortage, very, very difficult to find good people. So you don't want to lose good people, that's for sure. But mental health has escalated hugely over the period of the pandemic. And just a couple of stats, which I think are really interesting. Atlassian and PwC did a report called Return on Action. And they found out that mental health was the #1 societal issue that employees care about. So it's way up there in terms of what they consider important, both inside the organization and in the community. Another study done by Microsoft looking specifically at hybrid work and what are the key success factors for hybrid work, they found out that #1 was a positive culture. I think we could all agree with that. #2 was mental health, and #3 was purpose. And so, you know, to have a positive culture, you need mental health, and mental health really contributes, and purpose really contributes to mental health. So all roads lead to the importance of mental health right now.
Yeah, more important than ever. But how do you actually ask, are you okay?
Yeah, it's a very good question. This is the 4 steps that is really critical to having a good conversation. So the first is A for ask, and that's maybe make an observation about a change you've seen. You know, someone might be turning up for work late, but when you ask in a very curious way, you find out that they're not sleeping well. And when you probe further, you find out that you know, they've got a son who's an ice addict. So they're 2 very different things, but really probing and helping the person be understood is a critical step to the 3rd one, which is E for encourage action. And so this could be to, you know, if you thought about seeing your GP or calling Lifeline or calling your employee assistance program. And so ideally you want to get someone to agree to one action they'll take, one small action. And then the C is for check in. And this is following up a few days later to see if the person has taken action. Because when someone's going through a really tough time, and I talk from firsthand experience, you feel like you've tried everything, and so following up is really good. So those 4 steps again is ALEC, it's ask, listen, encourage action, and check in.
I've just written that down on my notepad. So I think it's very important. It's not just about asking, are you okay? It's following it through.
It is.
And really embracing it and making some genuine change. So the official day of Are You OK, Graeme, is on the 8th of September. It's just an annual reminder to check in with, and it could be friends, it could be family, it could be work colleagues, people working remotely. But what can employers do to embrace this opportunity to drive this genuine change? I mean, you talked about the acronym ALEC, but what else is there?
There is some great resources on the RUOK website, which is ruok.org.au. And so there's complete, you know, workplace kits there. And so, you know, there's a guide there about how to have an RUOK culture. There's a guide there about how to become an RUOK champion. There's PowerPoint slides there, which someone in the organization could use to present to the rest of the organization. But I think one of the most powerful, one of the most important is having a leader to when they talk about it, to explain how they've been touched by mental health issues. It could be personally, it could be, through a colleague or a friend, but telling those stories allows other people to share their stories. And that's such an important path in reducing stigma as well, because in that same mental health at work moodometer survey you mentioned, we found out that 67% of people felt that their manager cared about them. That's a really positive thing. But still only 55% said they would feel comfortable having a discussion with their manager about their own personal mental health issues. So, it's having leaders talk openly about it makes a big, big difference.
You are so genuinely lovely, Graeme. And it's not a surprise that you've been involved in this space and have really done a lot to change the environment, change the conversations. And I'm really interested that you've taken it a bit further and you've got a podcast called The Caring CEO. Tell us why you started that initiative and what impact it's had.
Well, you can look at all the evidence you like. I mentioned evidence before about how important mental health is in the workplace. You can look at Gallup, who have found out that a positive answer to this, my supervisor or someone at work seems to care about me as a person. The more people that strongly agree with that, the higher the profit and the productivity in the organisation. So you can talk about that theory. But we started the podcast because we thought, well, let's show actual examples. And so we describe a caring CEO as someone who champions both a culture of care and a culture of high performance. And we've had some amazing, CEOs on there. Mike Schneider from Bunnings, Emma Hogan, who looks after a large government department in New South Wales, Susie Nicoletti, who was the managing director of Twitter. And they share how they build those teams, those cultures. They share about mistakes they've made on the way. They share about, key learnings and books that have been influential to them. So we want to just be able to show that this isn't theory, it actually works.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing today. I want to leave, how about we just say 3 simple tips for employers to get behind Are You OK Day and actually make a difference. So some of them you've already mentioned. We'll break them down to 3. What are your top 3?
Well, I think the first one is to think about a story you could share about mental health. I think that's really, really fundamental to really reducing that stigma. The second thing is to look at the Are You OK website and look at all the resources that are there. And so, as I said, there's instructions about how to ask, are you okay? There's how to become a mental health or an Are You OK champion. So that's really important. And I guess the third one is don't think that one day is going to change everything. Our vision, of course, is Are You OK 365. And so there's another resource that I've prepared, and it's called Building a Mentally Healthy Culture Checklist. And it's got a checklist to plan a great day, to have a launch, and then to keep the momentum going. And then it's also got examples of what other organizations have done, big and small, to really celebrate the day and to celebrate mental health. And that can be found at wecare365.com.au. And, there's also other learning programs there to upskill people in being able to make a real difference in their organization.
Excellent. So the 3 things are, and I've written them down: share a story, go to the website, look at the resources, and have a look at wecare365.com.au and maybe look at that checklist, because that would help. And yes, it's something that 8th of September is important, but it is 365 days of the year that we should be very conscious about our mental health and the mental health of the people around us, and are they okay? Thank you, Graeme. It's been great catching up with you again. Good luck with this year's program, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Tanya, and thank you for spreading the word as well. We really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Thank you, Graeme.